Hello, my name is Steven Smith. I am the creator, developer, and all of the above regarding the Pick Finder browser extension. So I'll be talking about Pick Finder version 1.4, and in this tutorial we're going to talk about the tools in the browser extension, as well as some things you should think about when using the advanced options in the extension. So, once you have it downloaded, it should appear on your extension toolbar. You hover over it, and you should see here that it says Pick Finder version 1.4, just in case you don't know which version you got. So you click on it, and it opens up this window. If it's white like that, just click on it again. So we have required fields, name of item, and amount of images. If you don't put anything there, an error does come up, one of many errors. And they each have their own error messages. So, after putting in a certain amount of images and the name of your image, you have these advanced options, from numbering the file names to the extension type, the size and color, and we'll go over those briefly, well, not briefly, but quickly. So, first we're going to talk about the numbering. So when the file is being named, it starts at 0. So if I search up P right now, it will start at P0 with the default file extension all the way up to P4. If I wanted to go from 1 to 5, I just change the start to 1 and stay the increment of 1. You can increment it by 2, 3, 4, any number you want. It'll increment it by that, meaning that if I wanted to download 5 images, incrementing every 2. Let's do that right now. And then I hit find images. It sends me to Google. Google gets the first 5 images and downloads them, starting at 1, incremented by 2. 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 2 is 5, 7, 9. So, another thing you could do in this new version you couldn't do in the previous versions is you can actually specify the file extension numbering, show image sizes, debug mode, and execution delay. We'll get over these 3 later. For now, file extension type, basically all that means is that you get to choose the default extension or the extension that the file will save as. I can use the default, which depending on every image on this page, it will grab its supposed image file name. Like this one over here could be a JPEG, and this one over here could be a PNG, and this one could be a GIF, and it will get those and just save them as you would if you right clicked and saved as. Or you can force a image file by choosing one of these, or even choosing custom, and in this box right here you could type in any type of extension you want. So I want a potato extension. For some reason you want potatoes as file extensions. Oh, I didn't put a name, so why not? Let's see. I want 10 potatoes with potatoes extensions. And we hit find. And as you see here, they download as .potatoes. Unfortunately, there isn't a normal image viewer that will view these files correctly because they're in an unknown format. So that you would use this if you need a specific format for some program or something you're running that requires a format that turns that weird image format into some readable thing. So, another thing I'd like to talk about is the size. So, if you go here and click tools, you get all these options. These are Google options that are part of the Google, always been there. Some people don't know about them. And when they each have their own thing, colors, usage rights, types, times, size, and stuff like that. So I pretty much just put all that functionality and put it right here. So for size, large, medium, icon, and this is new, larger than, and then Google has preset sizes. I put them here. So if I search that, it will give me all the images 400 by 300 that it can. or I'm sorry, larger than 400 by 300. And there's even exactly, and when you're choosing exactly, this box you put the width, this box would be the height, and then those dimensions will be added to the search. And so let's see, let's do an example. I want larger than that. Force them all to be JPEGs. Let's look at text. We want 10 starting at 9. Just stay incrementing by 1. Hit find. And we have them downloaded. And let me check my downloads folder. And here's our peas, here's our potatoes, and here's our text. Oh, that's a pretty nice one. So, we know that works. Next, we're going to talk about the color. It's pretty self-explanatory. The types, the time. Custom range will be coming someday. Not today, but someday. And we have the image license, which is very useful when if you're trying to make something and not try to, get sued. So, you always have your label, reuse, modification, non-commercial, reuse. Same things that are here. So, the next thing I want to talk about is debug mode. Now, debug mode is useful if you're encountering some kind of glitch or problem with the extension. Just do the same thing you did before to encounter that glitch. Let's say I want to look up pop, 20 images, and then you check debug mode. And what this does is you hit that, it will execute normally. So then you hit F12, and you have to make sure when you hit F12 that this is the console window, web developer window. You got to make sure it appears on a different window, because if it's attached to the bottom, it will interfere with the extensions validation method, and you may get less items, more items, or it just may infinitely go, which you don't want. So what this does is everything that says content.js, that's being outputted by the browser extension. So first, this is the first thing, just making sure that it is running on the page. And now this is what you searched, the amount you want, and the file type. I chose default, so it changes default to whatever the image is supposed to download as. This is a function get images, just letting you know that it's starting to get them again. Test how many elements, and says, hey, I have this much. And then it says, hey, 100 is way more than the 20 you wanted, so let's see if it needs validation. Doesn't need any validation. So I was like, okay, I'm going to process this and send this to the background. Sometimes it does some extra work, but it already, and that's a lot of making sure that it doesn't do things twice. Okay, I've acquired all the images. It displays its result that it's sending to the background. This would be the extension type. This would be your custom one, but it's default, so it will automatically switch to JPEG, because this is the default one. That's the file name that it sends, and this is the actual URL that the image comes from. And then once it's into the background, a response is given from the background. If it says 0, background, got your data, looks good. If it says 1, something else, that means something probably went wrong. And I'd advise you send some kind of report to me using the support email. So, now that that's cleared up, one other thing I wanted to talk about. Last two things. Show image sizes. This is just a little nifty thing Google has. So if you would go here to tools, it's located over here. I don't really know why they just have like one extra tool there, but they do, and all it does is this. So if you check the little box, you see all the little image sizes under. So let's go back here. So the last one is execution delay. This is very important because this determines whether or not the images are properly loaded in time. This execution delay depends on whether or not your internet connection is good and your desktop size or whatever browser size you're using, because the more or the bigger it is, I should say, then the more time it's going to take to actually load the images. So let's say A. 30. Actually, let's do, let's say 250. So we're going to debug this so you can see what's going on. Set delay to 3. I like 3. So I hit F12. So every 3 seconds now, it executes the next step in the process. And you see first it finds 100 elements, it scrolls down, 200 elements, it scrolls down again, it's finds 300, and then it says, hey, we found 300, that's more than 250, let's return the thing, hey, we got your background images, and they're downloading, and really, really slowing up your downloads. Like, oh man, I should probably stop that, but I don't have time. So, last but not least, wanted to show that this can in fact you can in fact exceed the amount of images Google will let you see. Because like I remember earlier, I was searching up cars. They only have about 800 and something images of cars, at least at the time. But I searched up 1,000. But the program was able to say, hey, they only have 827 or 37. I'm just gonna stop here and give you what I can. So let's say you accidentally searched up more than Google has to offer. That's under 400. So let's say I have apples. I wanted 1,000. Return debug mode, where get a little fancy. With 4-second delay, because 4,000 is a lot. Actually, let's make that 5. Make sure the page loads. Of course, I already told you that it's not even going to get to that. But it's good to think like that just in case, you know. There we go. Just hit find. Start the debug mode just to show you what's going on. It says, hey, there's 100. Scroll. Wait 5 seconds. 200. Scroll. Wait again. Detected 274. I'm going to try to scroll. I'm going to try that again because it seems like I'm not moving. Looks like I'm not moving at all, so I'm guessing that's the end of the page. So I'll decide to save, and it sends what it finds, and it downloads what it finds. And yep, that's pretty much it. Hope you enjoy. Have any questions, comments? Don't forget to, use the support email. I do read that. Constantly checking. And I hope you enjoyed it.